Witnesses for their opening statements. Members will now be recognized by order of seniority for 5 minutes of questioning. An additional round of questioning may be called after all members have been recognized, and also knowing that we have a second panel. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questioning. Let's just start with current events, and I'll ask an open-ended question. What is going on in New Jersey?
So, sir, the FBI and our Newark field office, along with the state and local partners there, the Bureau is actively investigating the situation you mentioned, just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey, including proximity to sensitive sites and areas of concern. So we do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights. But we're actively investigating. What the Bureau has done to aid our state and local partners is what we generally do, enlist the help of the interagency, enlist the help of the public. There's a tip line there, that 1-800-CALL-FBI, tips.fbi, for information from the public that could help us resolve this. It is concerning.
Is the public at risk? Is public safety at risk? Are we concerned that there are nefarious intentions that could cause either national security or a public safety incident that would put Americans at risk?
There's nothing that is known that would lead me to say that, but we just don't know, and that's the concerning part.
I think the fact that we have these unknown drones, UASs, that are flying over either critical or sensitive facilities is exactly why we're having this hearing. And Mr. Jones, actually for anybody on the panel, let me just say, we go back to last year, there were incidents, including Langley Air Force Base, where for over a week we had unknown drones flying over a very sensitive military installation with F-22s and other weapon systems on the ground. And I think that was cause for concern. So from a DHS standpoint, either on a border mission or from an FBI or DOJ, you mentioned, Mr. Wheeler, we don't necessarily have the authorities we need. Why can't we take action against these drones that are flying over sensitive sites? Why are we not taking action against drones that are flying over sensitive sites?
So authority exists to mitigate a UAS in flight when authorized, and that could certainly apply to a sensitive site. I would be a little measured in speaking for the Department of Defense for those sites that are in question here. But I will say that we're, for the FBI, in a position, close liaison relationship with the Department of Defense and those areas that you mentioned, and will help in every way possible. But for securing those particular sites in this way, it is a DoD equity.
Mr. Jones, for the border, I was down in the RGV last year, and they told me that they had over 20,000 incidents just in a quarter of drones that were being operated by cartels. What's the danger along the southern border to our citizens, the safety of our citizens from drones?
Well, thank you, Chairman. So you touched on the volume of activity within the 500 yards of our contiguous border, in the south and even on the north, is staggering. We have deployed detection technology. You mentioned 20,000. The significant threat is counter surveillance. They are surveilling law enforcement activities. They're doing this 24/7, 365. And historically, they've had to have high ground or terrain. Now everywhere's the high ground.
This is their high ground. They can see what's going on.
Exactly.
Do you have the authority to mitigate those physically or by other means?
So the Secretary has designated certain areas along our border as covered facilities. So yes, the capability exists and the authority exists in those covered areas.
Have those types of mitigations taken place? Are we actively mitigating?
We are actively mitigating, yes, sir.
And how many, my time is expiring, but how many events are we experiencing per year along the southern border?
So, for example, last year, if we look at 45,000 detections on the southwest, of those, 2,500 plus or minus actually made an incursion. So now we're talking about a very small subset. A lot of the surveillance is taking place outside of our jurisdiction in foreign airspace. That makes it particularly challenging for mitigation.
I bet we'll get back to these. My time has expired now.